Oh, we're just gonna start here. No intro. Well, as you can see, no intro. We're in disarray over here. Let's see. Can you hear my mic? Yes, you can. What up, everybody? I mean, we can run the intro if you'd like, or we could just go ahead and start because we need to get my boy Nate here some positive energy because his Cowboys lost tonight in the playoffs, and he has lost all hope in humanity. So we just figured we'd get the show started without an intro. But you tell me, guys. You let me know if we should run the intro. But we're gonna go ahead and take care of some business, and then we can get to talking about some other things that'll make us feel better. This is going to be a rough one, chat. This is going to be a real rough one. I don't know how enthusiastic or how long this episode's going to be, but we'll try to get through it. But first and foremost, thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching the show. This is the 74th episode of Two Fat Guys Pull List. Obviously, we didn't run an intro just because I just went live. I didn't even think about hitting it because I'm concerned about my bro here. But thank you again for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, give us a like. If you're already subscribed, give us a like. If you're not, give us a like. And yeah, we're on our way to 650 subscribers. When we hit that 650 subscriber mark, we are going to give away this Daredevil issue number 25 of the current run, a 9.8 from CBCS, the second printing, first cover appearance, and first appearance of Elektra in the Daredevil outfit and being Daredevil. So we'll be giving that out at 650 subscribers. I believe as of right now this number fluctuates, but I think we're at 560. So we've already gone up 10 subscribers since last episode, which is great. He looks so sad. Yes, he does. And Cosmic Gold, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this as a past episode, don't worry, we haven't forgot about you. We will be sending you that 8.5 Batman Adventures homage cover. I don't know if we're going to see Nate's eyes at all tonight. So don't fret. We will be sending that to you shortly. It's just been a crazy week, but that will be coming your way because you won the 550 subscriber giveaway. So anyway, some other business that we have to talk about while Nate sulks is, well, that's not gonna work. Nate was on two screens. Let me fix that really quick. Where's our internet browser? It does that every time I get a reset. It seems to switch up the components. Anyway, this is our Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade and premium upgrade on brainycomics.com. If you don't know, our LCS, Collected Comics and Games, has a website called brainycomics.com. That's where you can go and buy some awesome comics if you want to support our LCS. But on top of that, we've got an awesome deal right now where you get the Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade for $8, which gets you a mystery exclusive comic from brainycomics.com. Or you can do the premium upgrade, which is $15, which gets you two mystery exclusive comic covers. Now you might be asking yourself, what do those covers look like? Well, if we go to brainycomics.com, we've got all these sick variant covers that are coming in. Some of them are priced at $19. Some of them are priced at $40. There's a bundle, $15, $22. You got some good ones here. So if you pick the $8 one, you have a chance of getting any of these sick, awesome exclusive covers. And then if you do the two, you might get the combo, like the Department of Truth number 16 exclusive cover, or this super massive. Now I believe, this one just popped up. The super massive crossover. It is an exclusive cover, limited to 600 pre-orders, expected 223. I might be picking that one up. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very cool looking cover, and I'm actually quite stoked for that little crossover event, if you will, with some new comic book heroes from Image Comics. So go on over to brainycomics.com, type in Two Fat Guys Pull List, add that exclusive in your cart when you're getting ready to come out. Pay for your comics, and you'll get some cool stuff. No matter what they do. Did Wayne Gretzky miss a touchdown and the Cowboys lost it all? Man, Patty. Sports. Oh, this is gonna be rough. This is gonna be really rough.
If only the Cowboys could have an honorable player like Wayne Gretzky.
Oh my God. Okay, let's get through this, guy. We can do this. So, we didn't talk about. This is gonna be kind of some insider trading here. Are we cool with everything else that's on the list, Nate, or do I need to pull books before we get started? We're good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to kick off the show, as we always do, with our X-Men book, and we only have one this week, and that is Marauders, issue 27. This is the last Gary Jerry book. Interesting note. I don't know if you got... You may have not gotten to this one, but I'm going to kind of... It's a quick read, but it's really just Gary Jerry wrapping up his Marauders run. We're losing a bunch of characters. Iceman is off, in Niflheim fighting frost giants. Emma is leaving the Marauders and also is leaving the Hellfire Trading Club. A lot of people are leaving. Basically, the people that are left basically at the end of this book are Kate and Bishop. So that's all that's left. So we're going to get a complete revamped team almost, except for those two. Everybody else is kind of going their separate ways as Steve Orlando picks up the book. What was crazy about this is we had two different artists, but the main artist was Phil Noto, which I really, really enjoyed. That dude has a very unique and awesome style, and I love him on X-Books. I mean, I like all, we're going to get him in the X-Men Devil Reign tie-in, which I'm super excited about because he's on that book. But I hope that he continues to maybe pop in here or there on Marauders, but it feels like he's kind of tied to Gary Jerry, which I don't really mind. I would love, if Phil Noto...
What's the cable? Look.
Right. If Phil Noto popped in for Pepe on X-Men, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think that'd be amazing. I know it'd be drastically different, but Phil Noto's just got a really awesome style.
He can turn his pages in every month, so...
Well, basically, it's a quick wrap up in this. We've got the biggest thing in this issue was Kate. Is it Kate? That's Kate, right? Like that's how you say her name. I always want to say Kate, Kitty, and I know that she didn't like that. So Kate.
Kate.
We're still. There's two things that happen at the beginning. There's one thing that happens at the beginning of the book, and then it kind of tie-in / leaves open-ended at the end of the book. So at the beginning of the book, she goes to Forge and is like, have you figured out why I can't get through the gates? And he's like, I'm working on it 24/7. Don't worry about it, kid. And she's like, yeah, but everybody else is like pulling at your strings to get shit done around here. So I don't know how much I can really, rely on you. Not that she doesn't think that Forge can't do it. He's just got a lot of irons in the fire. So middle part of the issue, everybody's leaving. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm going on a honeymoon. I'm going to fight frost giants. Blah, 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 blah. That chick that was resurrected, who got killed by a sentinel at a Hellfire Gala. Remember her? That was...
Oh, yeah.
So she's taking over Emma Frost's seat. Or no. I'm sorry. She's taking over Shaw's seat. Shaw got kicked out. And he willingly did it, but there's something up his sleeve. And then Emma is giving her seat to her daughters, the Cuckoo Sisters. Ooh. So there's that. That's a big development. And at the end of the book, Kate goes to Reed Richards with Krakoan Gate seeds and tells him that she needs him to figure out why she can't go through the gates, solve it. And Richard says, bet, but you need to figure out what Professor X did to my brain to steal what he did to me during our little mini run with Chip Zdarsky, where he pulled out the information of wiping mutants' powers.
Oh.
And she goes, "Aight." So that's how this issue ends. It's pretty intense. So we do actually have some momentum shifting, some consequence that I think we're going to see in Steve Orlando's books, and I think within the Destiny of X. I think Gary Jerry is definitely connected enough into the X office. He's in those meetings that he's like, all right, here's a little bit, here's a little sprinkle. Let's have some fun. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually, outside of reading Orlando's annual and it being, good, unless it's just absolutely awful, I'm actually looking forward to Marauders. I'm super stoked for it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Quiku says, I feel like Kate working with Reed is going to have some massive implications at some time in the future. No doubt.
I really hope it does, because we've said it before, we've said it a million times, but just the whole Franklin Richards thing is just a travesty. And I think there is so much potential that could have come out of that series from Zdarsky that was so good, and maybe this is the opportunity for Steve Orlando to have the opportunity to maybe fix what Dan Slott ruined. Even though this week's issue of FF makes me think that Dan Slott has realized that
he fucked up.
He's gonna have to fix that.
Well, here's my question to you, and we'll get to it more in FF, but I just want to kind of sprinkle it in here. How do you retcon? How do you fix Professor X and Cerebro going, you're not a mutant. You clearly fucked up. Like you were masking it. You were like, how do you fix that? Like, how is he no longer?
I think it's pretty easy, because you just say that it was not true. You just say it was never true that somebody saw a vision, or somebody saw something about how dangerous he was going to be, and he Sinister found a way to implant cells into Franklin that made him not be able to use the gate. Something like that. I don't know. Comic book writers are very good at coming up with these things, so I'm not super worried about them. I don't even give a shit if it's legitimate or not. Just give Franklin his powers back.
No shit. No, I agree with you. Someone asked, which is the better Domino, in the Deadpool movie or Domino in the comic books? I don't know. I feel like they're pretty equal from what I've read.
I would say that the Domino in the movie is a fairly good representation of the Domino I know. I am a horrible person to ask this question, though, because the only Domino I know is from this era, X books, and she has been around for a hell of a lot longer than that. So I would not be the right person to ask that.
Yeah, and then we'll get to that other comment later. It's okay, Nate. They're gonna pop up. Like, it's just gonna happen. Yeah, and you're dealing with it really well. I'm just saying, like, and if you're not reading chat right now and you're watching this as a past episode, the Cowboys lost. Nate's not happy about it. He's very upset.
You gotta keep talking about it.
Okay. Anyway, Marauders was fun. I didn't know what to expect from this issue. And then, Patty said it right. Someone said because comics. Obviously, that's how we're gonna fix it. And I hope we do, because I remember when we first got into this, and we were we was like, Ron was like, "Are you gonna pick up the mini from Chip Zdarsky?" And we're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And we picked it up, and we were so excited about it, because this idea of Franklin just being this awesome weapon for Krakoa, and then it was just taken away from us, from Dan Slott. And so it's just like, please bring it back. And I think I'm cautiously but getting more and more optimistic about the Destiny of X, to be absolutely honest with you. And it's not because we have to wait so long. I think Comic Book Herald does a really good job. If you don't watch Comic Book Herald's videos on X-Men books, go check him out here on YouTube. The dude is an authority on comics and on X-Men books, and he's getting excited. And when he gets excited, I'm like, okay, I'm digging this, So as Destiny of X approaches, and we're getting ready to get into the lives and deaths of Wolverine, I'm getting a little optimistic, because we're getting a reset, right? Like, we're gonna get, as much as I hate the fact that Hickman is not involved, right? Like, that does upset me, and it will always be a chip on my shoulder. I'm a little excited just to see what we can achieve, or what the Marvel and the X office can achieve, and see if they can sprawl out and expand on Hickman's vision. I know it won't be the same, because that dude can just story tell and world build and execute flawless, but genuinely excited to see what happens. So this was a fun little, it was fun. I didn't know what to expect. I almost felt like it was going to be bad, but it was good. It was like a nice little send off for Gary Jerry. Squeaker says, I saw Slott talking on Twitter about status quo for characters never lasts, so I'm sure he's got a plan to undo and is just exploring Franklin's personality since he's often just a plot device. You know, that's we're going to come back to that comment when we get to Fantastic Four, because that was probably one of the best things I liked about this issue was Franklin's involvement in the issue. So let's move on. Let's talk about Daredevil Woman Without Fear from Chip Zdarsky. We're kind of getting back to what Elektra's device is in Daredevil, right? And what her true purpose is within the run. And I think it's just kind of been overshadowed with Devil's Reign. I thought it was insightful. It wasn't my favorite book of the week, but it was pretty good.
I really liked it. I thought it did two things really well. It gave you like a little quick, I wouldn't say history lesson, because I wouldn't say it was as involved as that, but just a quick little like recap on Elektra as a character. And then it was a little bit of a recentering of Elektra in her role and what all's going on here.
Right.
And so for the first, this is a $5 book, so it was a little bit longer. The first 28 of the 30 pages, I was like, this isn't really interesting. I enjoyed the art. I thought it was the pacing was really well. It's Chip Zdarsky, so of course he's gonna write it well. And then she's like, oh man, like the person she thinks, I can't remember the character, Ara or Aka or something like that.
It was Aka, or it might have been Ara.
The person from the hand that she thinks is trying to keep her there, it turns out it's just fucking Kraven the Hunter, just like
fucking with her.
Nah, like I hunt. She's like, what the fuck, man? Like I've got shit to do. There's this whole like thing going down in New York, and he's like, but I hunt.
Primal.
So like it just seems like a reason to take her off the board during the event. So I'm very, very worried about where we're going with issue 2 in this.
Okay.
But I very much enjoyed issue 1.
Overall I thought it was good, but then when Kraven shows up, you're kind of like, huh?
I don't know what it is. I am not, again, this is very much, any of my takes on characters are very much as a new reader. The only Daredevil run I've ever read is the Chip Zdarsky run. But so I don't know Elektra in any capacity besides this, and the vague flashback memories of what's her name's movie? I can't remember. Old 2002 version. That, and then what little
what is her name? Jennifer Aniston. No.
Chat, help us out. Anyway,
who's Ben Affleck's old chica?
Yeah. So like who Elektra is supposed to be and who she really is, maybe it's not. I don't have the right frame, but like I like her and Daredevil together, her and Matt Murdock together. So yeah, I enjoyed the whole issue.
No, it was a good issue.
Besides
like you
the last
said,
panel.
It's just that last panel was a curveball / what the fuck. So we'll I'm sure we'll get an explanation in issue 2. Is this a 3-part mini?
Mm-hmm.
3. Okay.
Jennifer
Garner.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, watch her. I know there's rumor that Ben Affleck's Daredevil might show up in Multiverse of Madness.
No, there's rumor that literally every single Marvel that's ever existed anything is going to show up. There's rumor that Lou Ferrigno is going to show up as the Hulk. There's no way that dude's doing that. There's no way.
We'll see. Anyway, next up we've got Devil's Reign Superior 4 issue number 1. I'm 50-50 on this. I like the idea. I like the idea of Doc Ock, not being under the control of Kingpin and using the Forever Gate, something that he has at his disposal. But other than that, I was a little like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
I was very disappointed with this issue. I was bored. I was bored the entire time.
I mean, that being said, yeah, like the establishment of like Wolverine, Doc Ock, and Incredible Hulk and Ghost Rider, I was like, okay, I did like when they're trying to essentially, Octavius is trying to consume as many versions of himself that are not so superior in order to expand his intellect within the multiverse. I mean, that concept alone is crazy. But I felt like it could have been executed a little better. But that being said, finding the actual Spider-Man version of Otto and taking him down, I thought was cool. I did like that. But other than that, it was a tough read. Like, to get through it, there was a lot of thick, just, what's the word? Just a lot of words. And the words were just like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? I think that's where it was. It just felt like overly described the concept. I'm like, I understand what we're doing here. Let's move. And it just felt muddied and thick.
Yeah. The only thing that I liked was the last little bit of the Doom / Doctor Strange /
Oh yes, that was
Dr.
intense.
Otto. That was pretty cool. So that's what's gonna keep me. Honestly, at the first half of this book, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm not picking up the second issue."
Right.
And then that happened. I was like,
The true superior Otto is Doctor Doom fused with Sorcerer Supreme and Dr. Octavius. Like, that's pretty intense.
you can tell how quickly though everybody is like. Of course, I'm sure that what I was gonna say was everybody's jumping on this multiverse shit and they're writing now, and I'm sure that is on purpose with we're heading in the MCU. I'm sure that editorial was like, everybody wait, and then Spider-Man comes out and they're like, all right, fuck it, go do it, and like everything's coming out now. But I'm honestly like, an issue like this kind of makes me worried because I feel like, let's do multiverse stuff, but if we're doing it, we gotta do it right. We gotta do it well. We need to do it with some effort. And if we don't, we end up with shit like this, and I'm just like...
Well, this goes back to this whole, like, is this tie-in worth it, right? And I feel like Marvel, I guess, and this is going to be a hot take for all of our Marvel fans, and I'm sure you've been down this road before, but I've become more leery of Marvel tie-ins as we get to these events, because a lot of them don't feel like they have any weight. Now, Death of Doctor Strange, a majority of them have, all right, Doctor Strange is dead. Someone has to pick up the slack. Great. You know what I mean? In this one, it's like, how does this connect? Is this going to connect? Will we see... I mean, I'm sure we'll see Otto back in the main book, and he'll have his Superior Four, and they'll get taken out like that, and whatever, But it just... To me, it's kind of like, why are we doing this book? You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel like it has any narrative or any connection to Zdarsky's event. It's just like, well, we need tie-ins because this is a Marvel event. Okay, well, let's do them right. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yep.
That's my opinion there.
I feel you.
Speaking of Elseworld and awesome continuity and just having fun, we got Tom Taylor's Dark Age #4. Really enjoyed this issue. I liked the idea that we were doing. I love seeing Storm and Black Panther having a kid together. I loved Wolverine and Honey Badger fucking just being badass. I loved the consequence of this issue of someone dying. Seems like we get one every issue, which I'm fine with. Only criticism: read too goddamn fast. Just read too fast.
That's this whole series.
Yeah, like I felt like the first issue was great, and then now we're just like, get to the end, and I'm like, no, like.
I have a very good feeling that this is going to be the like origin or first of many stories, minis, events, whatever, that take place in whatever Earth this gets designated as. Let's just Earth 699. Like, this is, I think we're going to get a lot of stories. The really unfortunate thing about that is that we know for a damn fact Tom Taylor won't be telling any more of them.
Now, you know who would...
It's not for years.
Right. You know who would play really well in this universe?
Who's that?
Donny Cates. Donny Cates
would do really well in this universe.
Donny Cates would kill in this universe.
I almost think that that is what we need to do with Donnie for a while, because he losing. Well, we're going on a tangent, but to me, he's losing his luster in trying to just do the biggest thing, and in here you can just sort of do that at will and ad nauseum, and it doesn't matter. But he keeps trying to do it in main continuity,
616 continuity,
and we either have to pick up the pieces once he's done, or it lands flat like Null. It's like, oh my god, Null's the baddest of them all. He's so bad, he fucking gutted a sentinel or whatever, a celestial, and created a sword. He kills everyone, all the things. All the symbiotes had to create him and lock him in a planet forever, and here he comes, and he's dead. Okay. Well,
no,
so.
No, I totally get that. Yeah, I don't know. This was a fun issue. It just read way too fast. I loved the artwork. I love the use of the characters. I love the lack of concern for consequence. I love that, and I think that's what makes this book and Tom Taylor's Dark Knights of Steel so good. It's just, who gives a shit? Let's have fun. To me, that's the best part of this entire thing. Not my worry, but again, me and you have never read any of Tom Taylor's Elseworld or crazy ass, event stories. We didn't read, what's the DC one? Deceased. Is that his?
Yeah.
And everyone loves that book. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And we're kind of like, never read it. So I'll be very interested to see how these two Elseworld stories end, just to see how does he tie it on a bow, or does he leave the door open for interpretation and let, somebody like a Donny Cates or an Al Ewing or, a Jeff Lemire to come in and really have some fun. I don't know.
Two things I want to say is, how is it that no matter what version of Nightcrawler we get, that he's still super lovable and the best?
Right. Yeah. And he's literally a pirate in this issue. It's so badass.
Yeah. And this is a perfect example of a proper misdirection from a cover.
Yep.
Like, I can't tell you how many times a cover is like Wolverine and Hulk fucking smashing and fighting each other and ripping each other to shreds, and the interiors of the book are like Hulk and Wolverine going, "Hey bud, how's it going?" and slapping five, and then that's it. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
This is the perfect one, because literally you see this and you go, shit. I think Fing Fang Foom and Giant Man, Ant-Man are on the bad guys team, because we still don't know for sure. You don't know until you see them, right?
Right.
And then they pop up, and even May's like, "Oh shit, what the hell?" And Spider-Man's not. No. It's good. They're the good guys.
Yeah.
And she's like, "But monster." He's like, "Yeah, well, don't worry about it." So.
Michael says, I imagine some of these characters coming to the main universe would be cool. Would love to see more of the Spider-Man personality. No, I'm digging the Spider-Man in this run, and I want to see his daughter, like, get more action, like fight more and like be able to kind of prove herself, because the dad, Peter is just so protective of her, and she's like, no, I want to fight, so I hope she jumps in more.
I find it interesting you say that, Michael, because I totally agree. That's one of the things that I liked about the Marvel Zombies that just came out last year. That was good. The adult grown up Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why we've had so many of these like awkward bullshit mandates and retcons for Peter Parker, especially with like the JMS run, Dan Slott run, like that whole late 90s, early 2000s era was like, everyone always wants Peter Parker as a kid, as a teenager, as like in college. No one ever wants an adult Peter Parker, and it's like literally just not the truth. Like, it's just so obviously not the truth. Like, it is obvious to guys like us that have only been reading comics for 2 years, and it's, there are guys that are like, been reading comics for 30 years since they were kids, and they're like, I would love to see a Peter Parker that I can relate to. A Peter Parker with a daughter, that hits me so personally.
Right. Yeah.
That makes Peter Parker interesting to me. And so I agree. I also enjoy seeing Spider-Man grown up. I wish we could get more of that, but I don't think we will.
Yeah, we'll make a video about that. We'll get that video later. Almost every version of Spider-Man's daughter is a popular character. As a kid, I read Spider-Man. Mayday Parker was wicked.
Yeah. Spider-Girl.
Down. All right, let's jump into Dan Slott's Fantastic Four, issue 39, the continuation of the trial for Wizard's kid. But there's a little sprinkle of Franklin and really a lot of family members. I thought this was a very heartfelt issue of FF, and I wasn't expecting to get the feels in this issue. And, like the cover says, like the 6 faces of Franklin Richards. Yeah, that's in this issue. It's not the main part of it, but I think it's the most important part of this issue. Outside of the entire idea of the FF being good parents and using their abilities and their situations to teach awesome life lessons. I thought it was a great issue. It was really fun. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
I hadn't read the previous issue with She-Hulk on the cover, so I read both back to back today. And reading them back to back like that, I think I really got like the core emotion of it all. And this is Dan Slott. This is the reason why Dan Slott is a tenured long-term writer at Marvel is because of things like this. I think this shows, Dan Slott has, the dude bats 200 but hits 50 home runs a year. You know what I mean? He is the Joey Gallo of writers. But this right here just shows what happens when he can put it all together. I think the charm is there. I think the comedy was there. The heart was there. The fact that we're talking about, I think Diablo was in the last issue, but you've got Diablo and you've got the Wizard and you've got Dragon Man. These are all characters that were literally introduced for their first time within the first 20 issues of Fantastic Four. Early 60s, 67, 66 is what we're talking. Or no, not even. Would have been 63, 64. And the fact that he is finding a way to make these characters relatable, but also, not relatable, but what's the word? Like they're easy to understand for new readers. Approachable. That's the word I'm looking for. Approachable for new readers, but like for someone like me that's even just skimmed through these first issues, and I remember reading Dragon Man's first appearance and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's just so cool. Like it's so cool to see how much the dude knows about Marvel history and continuity and how much he can tie it all together. And I think, like you said, case in point is the scene where Franklin Richards is called to the stand, because of course by this time, because the Richards have been volunteered to take Bentley if Dragon Man can't. Now everyone's parenting is getting questioned, and so Franklin has to go and take the stand and defend his parents. And it's really powerful. He's like, I've always been, and who said it earlier? Of course, Quick, said it. Quick, said that, like, literally, I've just been a plot device for the past 50 years.
Yeah.
He's always being used. He's like, at one point, they had created a pocket universe when I was 5 years old. Then I saw the version of myself from a different timeline that's the same age as I am now, and that dude was a fucking badass.
Yeah.
And I'm that guy now. So, like, who the fuck am I, and what am I supposed to be? I don't know. I just found it to be a very profound way for the character to be able to look at himself, and it literally was done in, like, 3 pages.
Yeah, no, it was deep. It was deep as hell. And after it was done, I was like, no, I want more. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do next? Like, I want to know more about Franklin. And I think you're right. I think Dan has, whether it's him coming to terms with the fact that he fucked up, or if Marvel's like, fix that shit now, I'm glad to see it. And hopefully he's not playing with us. Hopefully he's not, psych, we don't want one of those. And I could see him doing that too. Just like, Franklin. Just kidding. Y'all can go, eat it. So we'll have to wait and see. But other than that, I think that was probably the biggest part of this issue. Mom, Dad, I want my own plot. Exactly. And we just have to wait and see, unfortunately, what Slott is going to do. We've got his next event with the Reckoning War coming up. So patiently wait and see how Franklin is used and if he gets through that, if he gains back his powers, how are we going to do that? Hopefully we will. I know we're all kind of hopeful of that. But as for the rest of the issue, I think it was a nice little wrap up from issue 38 with the trial and with the Wizard trying to gain his what's the word? Not ownership. What's the word?
Mom, Dad, all my own plot.
Yeah. Guardianship or whatever to be his parent. And then we find out that Wizard's actually clone number 2 of Wizard,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was kind of like, haha, I gotcha. And, to wrap it up in 2 issues is great. I thought it was a little cheesy, but it was fun too. So overall, I'd give this a solid A- of an issue.
Yeah, I would too. And I would say that this is just, man, I think I said it probably 4 or 5 issues ago, but one of the things I really enjoy about this Fantastic Four run is that Dan Slott has everybody now is all about the 4 to 5 to 6 issue arcs. It's all about like, well, you read one issue, it's like, well, let's just see what happens. And it's like, there's something to, and I like that too. I mean, look, Christopher Cantwell's 19 issue opening art for Iron Man, I'm all about it. It's great and I love it. But there's something to also say about the art of the comic book, of keeping you interested every issue,
Mm-hmm.
without relying on the next issue, without leaving you just dropped with a hook and saying, well, I hope you come back for the next one. Like, just saying the quality of these 21 pages alone are enough. And I think Dan Slott is doing a perfect job of that in a modern era in these past, 6 to 8 issues, maybe 10 issues. Ever since we finished with the huge tie-in run where we had three events in a row that kind of tied him up for almost a year. But
Right.
yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. A-, I think, is a great
Yeah, no. Interested to see where we go with the Reckoning War and then the next couple issues. Overall, massive rebound for Dan Slott and Fantastic Four, I think.
Mm-hmm. I know it's going to be a while because we've got Reckoning War coming up next, but I am so desperate to get some resolution for Johnny being on fire all the time, and for his bae, whose name I cannot remember. But
Sky.
Yes, I do not want her to just be lost,
thrown away. Yeah.
I think she will.
All right. After that, we got Star Wars: High Republic, Eye of the Storm, the origin story of Marchion Ro.
I think
this
you're saying it right.
Am I?
Yes. Well,
Did I?
It's funny because literally everyone has been saying Marchion Ro, including the writers, and then somebody in Star Wars editorial said it's actually Marchion. And so the newest audiobook that just came out starts saying Marchion, and then now everyone's on the internet going, what the fuck? And Star Wars it's officially Marchion. And all the writers like, we say Marchion.
Yeah. Marchion. This was, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. This was close to being my pick of the week.
Oh, nice.
Just because of how brutal it was. After once we got past the and you need it. You need the description. You need to find out what happened to Marchion's people to understand why he's so fucking wicked and just a piece of shit. But after it was a little hard for me to kind of get into it. I mean, obviously I read it and understood it, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, amazing, right? But once we got into his story and his youth and just how shitty his people are and how how shitty he embodies that idea, I thought it was really good, and I was very close to picking this as my pick of the week.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I always enjoy a good origin story for a guy that I'm familiar with that has a real shadowy background. All of this information in here is brand new too. This isn't anything that you've gotten from
any of the other books.
Any other stuff. That's why all of the big Star Wars High Republic people are most of them are trade waiters because they're not into comics. They just pick this stuff up because they're into Star Wars.
Right.
And on all the the Reddit and sub forums that I'm on and stuff, everyone's like, nope, you can't wait, just go pick it up. And one of the reasons is we get a glimpse of a couple of, at least one of my favorite like bad guys, is Pan Ada. You get a quick glimpse of him, that's it. But this guy,
Yeah.
he's been in a few of the audiobooks, and they do an amazing job. So, by the way, almost all of the High Republic audiobooks are fully dramatized, like with audio production, like lightsaber noises and shit.
Oh shit.
And his voice is like some guy that literally just sounds like he is speaking out of the deepest, like, and it's all ruddled and enabled. And anyway, it was cool to get to see him. And Kassav, who is the first Tempest that gets killed. I'm sure they talk about it in the comics, but he gets killed in the very first book, like a long time, like a year ago. Yeah, getting to see the brutality of it all, getting to see Mara Santeca a little bit younger, like not as, I mean, obviously she's old as fuck, but she's the one that gives them the paths.
Okay.
Literally, she's like a ghost in bones later on.
Okay.
This is, you know, where we're at currently in time. And yeah, getting to see a little bit of a glimpse into his dad, because you see his dad. His dad is talked about in other books, but you don't actually get to see him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No.
Get a tiny bit of Lorna D right there.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a solid read. I dare say it's better than the current book that we're reading. And again, it's just because I've got such...
Oh, like the regular High Republic book?
Yes. It's just because I have such disdain for how long we dealt with the Drengir. I'm just like, don't. Like, we were so hyped.
Drengir in like 8 of the last.
You're right, but I'm still upset about it because like the Nile still, like, we get little glimpses of like how awesome and badass they are, and it's like, and now we get like, here's the leader, and this guy is an absolute piece of shit. Like, he's just the worst of the worst, the baddest of the bad, and I loved it. So I'm just like, I want more of that. I want more Nile. I want more history behind that. I want more lightsabers. And like the last page in the book of in this book, the spread, like, goddamn, you know, like, death is coming. Patty says, I'm not super into Star Wars because it's just confusing me so far. I got to sit down and catch up a bit, but I like how they put a actual quality into their audiobooks, and that's dope. No, I agree.
The audiobook for The Rising Storm, which is the second adult novel, it's written by Kevin Scott, who's the one that's writing the Marvel comic books. The audiobook for that is fantastic. I'm pretty sure, I think it's like 15 hours, if you know, altogether. I'm pretty sure I finished it in a week because, one, I have a 2-way commute, but also because I was just listening to it at work because it was so good.
It's awesome.
There's literally half that book is action, like just non-stop. Like when it's done, I felt like I was out of breath. I was like, holy shit.
That's awesome. All right, let's move on to some DC, and we've got Batgirls issue number 2. I was a little worried that I wasn't going to. And it's because, you know, I usually watch Rockin' Robbie's Robbie Pop Culture Philosopher reviews before sometimes, and he was just like, nah. And I was like, oh no, well, that's not good, because like I respect his opinion on a lot of things, and I really on DC because he's got a lot more knowledge in that department. And so when he said that, I was like, oh no. But I have to disagree with him here. This was actually a really good issue, a lot of insight, and I thought the pacing in the book was really good. I didn't think there was any dead spots. You know, I felt like it flowed really well. You know, I will say, I think we have a lot of plot lines converging into one. That if there's any criticism, it's that I can't, I may not be able to keep up with every single case that they're dealing with. I put that in parentheses because they don't really have any cases. But I love the magistrate involvement. They got these rogue magistrate agents that are being controlled by what's the baddie? It's not actually Saint. It's
Seer.
Seer, which is, you know, the baddie that was revealed in the Fear State, which is great. And I'll say the biggest thing that shines for me in this book, outside of like, I really like the development relationships between the girls. I think it's really fun. Mm-hmm. But to me, the biggest thing that shines in this book, and I'm sure there are some people that just absolutely hate it, the artwork in this book is fantastic.
Oh no, the artwork's great.
It's so good. I love
the tone very well too.
100%. And it was good.
I really enjoyed it. I actually think that I understand what you mean by a lot of plot points, and I do think there's like within the first issue and then the first half of this issue, it very much felt like we're really spreading thin, especially during the first few pages when they're introducing the Saints, and it's like Tarsus and the Valentine and Asasi, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to keep up with all these people. And then it really converges halfway through, and you realize, okay, this is just a hierarchy of the same problem. We've got a leftover magistrate problem.
Right.
Seer and all these people we just named, whatever. This is just a leftover magistrate problem, which I think is really cool to, like, that was such a... We didn't utilize the magistrate for very long at all,
100.
right? Like,
yeah.
So I think this is a really cool way to utilize these... they're humans, but they can meet super-powered beings or super-equipped beings on a more level playing field. And it's not just the girls going out and beating up a bunch of alley thugs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we did get that second convergence as well from, like, who are these people that seem like they're kind of like zombies, but now they're kind of being violent and they're weird, and what's going on? And it's that, the Banksy sort of guy that does the street art, but
street artwork, yeah,
starting like a
revolution
sort of a thing. I can't remember what his name was, but
the Tutor.
Yeah, is that it? Tutor, yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like we've got two very, very well fleshed out villains or antagonists for the Batgirls. So I think now that we're there, great. I think it was done well. Let's kick some ass and see what it means. But I think Poonen and Conrad have done a really good job of like looking at what was already in the Bat world and saying, like, hey, let's make the girls feel like they're a part of what's already existing, instead of just like, oh, by the way, the Batgirls are over here doing their own thing, and who knows, they've got their own baddies and we don't care. It just, I don't know. I think the whole Bat Family editorial team is doing really good at keeping everything like it feels like it's all in one big livable.
Yeah, I would agree. The one thing that I really liked about this issue, and it was towards the beginning, and they literally addressed, like, the thought popped in my head, and then they tried to address it in this book, which is you have three Batgirls, and when Oracle's trying to talk to one of them, saying Batgirl, you're like, wait, which one am I talking to? And so, like, we got to figure out code names. I was like, that. I literally think I was like, wait, who is she talking about? And then she literally says, like, we got to figure this shit out. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Calvin says, I forgot about the show. How dare you?
Better late than never, bud.
Comics with your average Joe says the artwork reminds me of Ed, and Eddie. You know what? I could see that, but I dig it. I love the action. When we see action and movement in this art style, just like this cover, it's fucking vibrant and fast. It's great. I love it. Yep. Yeah. Solid issue. Solid issue. Did not have the issue 2 slump, which I was afraid it might have. All right. After that, we got Detective Comics 1048. Pleasantly surprised with this issue too, and it really all came down to the end for me. I was just waiting, like, through the entire thing. I was waiting for, like, what's the deal, right? And we get that. And then the other thing that, dude, when it happened, I was like, no, don't do this. There's a part where they go to an unlocked room, and it looks like Harley Quinn, and they're like, oh, she thinks she's Harley.
You were so worried about that because look at the cover, right?
Right. Because I don't want her to go back to being a villain. I want her to flesh out her story. I want to know what happens to her, and I want to know what happens to her in these comics specifically. Like, I know she has her own comic, and that's great, and it's good. I'm not reading it anymore, but it's fine. But I want to see her back in Batman. I want to see her back in Batman Detective Comics or any other of the Bat books. And I want her to be utilized the way Tynion was utilizing her. I think that we were getting some awesome character development, and I don't want that getting flushed down the toilet. And I feel like it almost happened in this issue. I was like, oh shit, it's happening. They're getting rid of a tiny onion change, and luckily they didn't do it.
Makes me feel like I need to peek back into her current ongoing and seeing how
100%.
over there.
100.
So real quick before we jump in here, Average Joe said, I liked the call between Babs and Nightwing. It's a great tie-in, and yes, it's a perfect example in Batgirls of like just little snippets of things that you can do to make the Bat world super. I mean, it's literally, it's how you got me, a new comics reader who was kind of getting already worried about how big my pull list was. It's how you've got me pulling 5 or 6 current Bat Family books that are ongoing. Because they're all doing an amazing job of keeping cohesion and telling bomb-ass stories. So, yeah.
I agree.
Speaking of which, I think that this is a really good story. We're not getting a lot of action yet.
No.
And I'm okay with that because it's really, I think, driving up the tension of what we're doing here.
Oh, it's building for sure. Basically this issue is Batwoman doing some detective work within the tower and trying to get the lay of the land, figure out, what this special treatment is, what's this doctor's deal, what makes him tick, is there any connections to drugs or crime or whatever. And we see some classic villains being rehabilitated. Mr. Freeze, for one, was the biggest one. And we still don't yet know what the therapy and or device or drug we are using to fix these criminals. Which are of the highest caliber within Gotham, which is great. For me, the hook to me was the best part of the book. That was like, there we go. There it is. And it's essentially that this doctor had a mother who was insane, who was violent, and multiple offenses, and was promised multiple times that she would be cured, never was. And, his backup story, his origin story is he hates criminals. He despises them, and he wants to get rid of them. And we find that out when he's a little kid. He hates them all. He wants them all to die, essentially. So we already have a conflicting view of this doctor who is in charge of this tower. I'm rehabilitating him. No, he's probably torturing them and is trying to figure out a way to get rid of them. So, a clinical version of Red Hood, vigilante, but he's doing it behind a notepad and prescription drugs. Kind of looks like it.
It does look like light. Really quick, is this female Clayface? I can't remember her name.
Kind of looks like it.
I was looking at that and I was like, I was wondering what happened to her. She kind of popped up in those earlier issues of Detective Comics.
Detective, yeah.
And she was having brain problems, and she had emulated that girl that had been murdered, and then
Stephanie or something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I liked the I just like the layout of this book too. It's all very dark and foreboding, and I don't know. It's fun to me to do the whole. Hey, here's day 0, everything's great. Day 25, fuck to oblivion. And then in issue 2, we go back around day 12. We're like, all right, let's see how things ended up so bad so quickly.
Well, I can see now.
I'm curious if you or anyone in chat can help me with this, but when Batwoman goes back to the lair, Dick's in the back, just doing his best Bruce impersonation, just barely in the shadows.
Yeah.
And he's like, did you see her? And Batwoman says, she's there. She's a patient. I didn't see her. First of all, it's written. This is a line that's been written very poorly.
Right. And
she says, she's there, comma, or she's there, period. She's a patient, period. I didn't see her. It's very jarring.
Yeah, I don't.
And he was like, "Did you even look?" And she's like, "I will." Who the fuck? Who are we talking about?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm totally lost on that
one.
Who
is he so worried about being in there? I don't know. It's bugging me. It's really bugging me about who
we'll find out.
Chopped up about, because he's going to end up. We know he ends up in there in civilian clothes. So for whatever reason, it seems like Dick's going to be involved very personally. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, we'll find out in a couple issues. I mean, we're getting one every week. We're getting one this week. So, solid. I'd give it a solid for me. I know it's probably higher for you, but I give it a solid B. Solid B.
Oh yeah, I'd give it an A-.
Yeah, I know. I know you'd go higher.
Let me guess. You still didn't read the backup.
Nope.
You okay? Next week, because these are coming out every week, and we know they are.
Want to?
I'm not asking you. I'm saying the show will be terminated instantly.
Oh, whatever. Oh, like the Cowboys season? Yo! Oh, no, chat. He's gone. I tried. I've been holding it back for a while, but, he's threatening to kill the show because I don't read the backup stories.
The backup story here was amazing. It was fantastic. So we're following the kid whose parents
turn your camera back on.
You can bite me. You can. Oh yeah, maybe he is talking about Huntress. Average Joe. Thank you.
That's a good idea.
That was a good guess. So we're still following the kid whose parents get murdered in front of him for the Joker, because people are idiots. They're like, yeah, what do we do with this orphan kid? And they send him to freaking Arkham. And so we see Batman after he goes and fights Joker off, and he's all like, has the shit beat out of him and is bleeding everywhere all over his computer.
Mm-hmm.
Then we flash to the kid talking to some pretty blonde lady, and she's like questioning him about his feelings and all this stuff. Turns out it's a young Dr. Quinzel, aka Harley Quinn, before she went crazy.
Nuts.
And Bruce Wayne comes in saying, hey, I'm gonna we want, we've got room at the Wayne family foundation for little boys that need help, yada yada, whatever. I don't remember what it's called, but
right.
They're like where's the kid? He like walked out. He's like, oh, can I use the restroom? And she's like, yeah, sure, it's down the hall. And they're like, where's the kid? Where's he at? Well, it turns out he ran into Clayface while he was going down the road, and him and Clayface are just sitting in a room chilling, hanging out, talking, having a good old conversation. Pizza. And Bruce and the security people walk in there, and they grab the boy and they're like, hey, Clayface, what the hell? And he's like, what, man? We were just chilling. They're like, he pissed himself. He's like, yeah, that happens when people see me sometimes, but I promise we were just hanging out being friends. And the kid was like, yeah, actually he's pretty cool. And they're like, no, fuck you, monster, and start beating the shit out of him. And I was like, god damn, man, Clayface getting the shaft here.
Yeah, it seems like that happens to a lot of villains.
Yeah, but our boy gets taken to the House of Gotham, which is the name of this little story. I don't remember what it's called, but the little boy school.
House of Gotham or House of Wayne?
I'm just saying the name of this little backup story is House of Gotham. I don't know what the actual...
Is it? Because it says on the cover House of Wayne. Okay, I'm just talking about on the cover because I didn't read the story. I get it. All right, I'll read it. My goodness. And he's gone. All right, so... Patty says, don't jeopardize the show like that, Jim. Leave him alone. I got it. Don't worry, I won't make another reference. Jeez. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. God. Damn, poor Clayface. All right, next up, we've got Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes.
Actually, by the way, sorry. It's gonna
go back. Go back.
Especially if I haven't read anything past the first arc of Tynion's Detective Comics back from 2016, but he's part of the team there, and I like him so much as part of that team because he's so I may be scary and dumb, but I sure would like to help y'all. So,
what do I got to do to get your camera back on?
Talk about this next thing. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So Bendis is back with Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes. This is a 1 of 6 limited miniseries. Dare I say I liked this book? I did. And I know you didn't read this. No. But we've been down this road before with Bendis where it starts off awesome, right? And whether it's his storytelling or the change in artists that throw you out of the book. Mm-hmm. But as for a first issue, this is actually a lot of fun. We got the 31st century with the Legion, we got the 21st century with the Justice League, and they're essentially coming together, being forced. So there was no verses yet in this book, but what is that? Forever. What does that say? Forever Star Faithful.
Put my screen up there.
Okay, hold on. All right. Pause for station identification. How do I do that? Option. I don't know how to, oh no. It won't let me.
Okay, that's fine. Keep going.
Oh my God. Pop it out. Well, you can share it and I can pop it on the screen later. Anyway, essentially what happens is the Legion is fighting something evil, and when this happens, there's this dark void that consumes one of the Legionnaires, who is this person that is 3 personalities in one that can split into 3 people, but then they converge back into each other later on, and one of them gets sucked into the 21st century. And when this happens, she ages very quickly. So she's a teenager in the 31st century. When she goes back in time, she ages to an old woman. And so the Legion is called by John, our current Superman, to travel back in time to meet with the Justice League to figure out what the fuck's going on. And there's this darkness, this great event and crisis darkness event that is happening that is fucking with the 31st century and the 21st century at the same time. And they don't know they don't know what's going on. And in all of this, it's also affecting Wonder Woman. Whenever somebody gets sucked in from the 31st century into the 21st century, it's always going after Diana, which that's not solved in this issue. And then at the end, the Legion and the Justice League are meeting, and then the tremor thing happens, and they all disappear except for the Golden Lantern. That's how the issue ends. Now, I'm intrigued, but I'm also extremely fearful that we'll get into issue 3, and it'll just be a clusterfuck, and I'll be like, wait, what are we doing here? What's happening? Is this supposed to be a Justice League story that was in the Justice League, but they pulled it out to make it a mini because they want to just get Bendis's run over? I don't know. But I do have similar feelings to when we first started picking up Justice League when Bendis got on it, and we were like, this is fucking awesome. This is amazing. The dialogue in this book was not anything like the Justice League dialogue that we were reading, where it just felt like a teenager was writing the dialogue and it wasn't cohesive. But they did do the same fucking thing where when the Justice League popped up, it was like, this is Batman, and this is Wonder Woman, and this is... And I'm like, if you don't know who Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and like core... The only one that I think you'd be like, wait, what? Is Black Adam? Because you're like, wait, why is he in the Justice League? That's the only thing I think... a person that deserves like a disclaimer of like why this person is in this book if you haven't been reading it. But everybody else, like, I know who these characters are. Stop muddling the line work, the dialogue. I will be getting issue 2 hesitantly, but I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Sure.
So that's me.
Before you go to the next book, what's up, Stefan? Thanks for joining us. Also,
what up?
Patty was asking how many Clayfaces are there? Calvin said 7, and to check out Casually Comics' playlist. Just want to say, because I know James has not checked out Casually Comics, her shit is amazing on YouTube. We talk about a lot of other creators. I would say that she is top-notch comics creator, does a lot of really good stuff on like histories and analytics, and delving into like more modern political issues and how they deal with comics and stuff like that too.
Nice.
Way smarter than we are. Way fucking smarter.
Oh, dude, that's not a hard bar to go over.
Okay, it's not, but like still.
Just saying. Patty says the Legion was always it was interesting to me, and I just picked up 1 through 4 comics based on the early 2000 cartoon. Cool.
Thanks.
She's also Canadian. Go Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that. But that explains it. It explains a lot.
way smarter up there than we are down here in the South. All right, next up. Wait, what happened? Why didn't it work? Uh-oh. Did I break it? All right. And funny voices. Haha. Next up, we have Robin and Batman from Jeff Lemire. This is the end of the mini from him.
Is this go 3 for you?
Chips. Pick of the week.
I just, it's
Hard not to.
It's just good. The artwork is fantastic. The dialogue, the pacing, the writing, the story, it's all good. It's all good. I didn't have as many independents as you. Only had one, and I didn't even get to it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know.
You didn't get to the department?
I got like halfway through it, and I was like, shit, I
I
gotta
read
start the show.
14 and 15.
Yo, you read books. I am reading a book right now, and I'm halfway through it, and that's Dune. Okay, so just
You read books? What's that?
you
You
read
do.
books. No, but you read books. It takes me like a goddamn year just to get halfway through a book. Anyway, that being said, Robin and Batman
You
issue
read
number 3
books.
is my pick of the week. I just think it was a fantastic story. I will be getting the hardcover when it's announced because it was so good. Artwork was amazing. Loved the story. I loved it was just full circle. It was amazing. It was good. Robin really coming into his own. You can't not give a book a pick of the week when they're playing D&D. That's pretty dope. Which we get in this book. And I liked how we brought back in Killer Croc and his connection to Robin and the circus. I thought that was good. I loved seeing Batman basically taking one and just being like, I get it, you're right, I'm wrong. You're a good boy. It's
Like, I read that, and at first I was like, damn. Then I was like, that's a little too kinky talk. Can't be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's because, Bruce is finally becoming a father figure to
Right.
Dick, like he's finally like, yo, I appreciate you. I've been putting you through the fucking ringer and you're saving my life. So I think those are just words of affirmation that I think Robin has been looking for the whole, the whole time. And and Bruce knows that because Bruce never got it when he was a kid. And so he finally has, the ability to do that with Robin. And I think that was great. And I guess for me, I want more Jeff Lemire Batman and Robin stories. I want more Jeff Lemire on Batman.
Lemire and Wen together, always, forever.
Yeah.
Please.
Agreed.
I think this is going to be one of the stories that, like, 10, 15 years from now, when you get a knucklehead like me that's like, I don't care about, release order. I want to know chronological order. And, like, this is going to be one of the, like, gold standards for early Batman.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, I want to read all year one stuff. I think this is going to be one of the pinnacle reads for
For sure.
understanding Batman and Dick Robin.
And maybe that's why
characters.
Maybe that's why we both gravitate so much to this book, because we're getting an origin story that we didn't get with Batman because we never read those comics.
So, are you making an assumption about what I've read?
Have you?
I've read year one, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway,
It's just four issues.
I think it's still nice though that we get to kind of have that same.
I agree.
That same feeling of like, oh, this is so cool. Anyway, it's short and sweet, just like my pick of the week. So that's what I gotta say about it.
That's Chips. Pick of the week.
Batman.
Okay.
year one.
All right. Well,
I'll
bring it to
let
work.
you borrow it.
Yeah. Just spray it off so I don't get no COVID. We'll be good to go.
Oh, 19.
Let's move on.
Ooh.
Next up, we've got our Independence, which I started reading, but then the show started, and that is Department of Truth, issue number 15. All I've heard is that this is a great issue, that Tynion really knows how to connect these urban myths with this concept of the Department of Truth. And I will say, reading it and then like kind of going through the pages just to kind of like get a gist of what's going on. I'm sure it's a great issue, right?
Yeah.
What it reminds me of is, do you ever remember those stories? You're a kid and you're in the library and they're like, you want to read a scary story, and there's those books that would have like an image about the story that you were going to read, and it was usually like the end image, and it was like they made a movie about it. It was a really bad movie, but it was like one of the stories is this girl gets bitten by a spider in her face, and then like spiders like grow out of her face, and she's like there's a scarecrow that comes alive. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the scariest stories.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's what this issue reminds me of. Like heavy, thick deposition and words, and then like an image to go with it, right?
Right. Yeah. No, 100%.
What? Same thing?
No, I was answering Stefan's question.
Oh.
I'm trying not to interrupt.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, it's on here, I think, isn't it? I think it is. Oh shit! If it's not, I'll put it in there. So that, for me, that's what that is. I mean, I'm going to read this issue in its entirety. I just got like a quarter of the way, and I was like, shit, the show's gonna start. So
yeah. So I will say, yeah, like as far as a comic book medium is concerned, there's probably no other comic book out there that has as many words in it as this one, for sure.
Oh god, yeah.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
There it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you, Calvin.
But yeah, like some of these images are just fantastic. You would almost, I would say that, like, while I love Simmons' artwork, I didn't miss it here. Like David Romero, excuse me, did a great job of keeping the overall feeling of it all.
Okay.
So yes, very wordy. It's basically like we've got a transcript of a redacted person speaking to Doc. Or what's his name, like Dalton Hines, something like that. Anyway, the kid with the tinfoil hat, and basically he's saying that like when they were trying to create UFOs, they accidentally created Mothman. Like he was like, yeah, we just said strange flying objects, and he's like, we weren't really specific, and people sort of like latched on to this Mothman, and so we get a few first-hand accounts of people encountering or seeing Mothman or something like that. See, I read issue 14 and 15, so I'm making sure what I read didn't bleed, because I almost started talking about the woman, and she's not in this.
Oh no, that's
previous issue. So he basically tells this redacted interviewer that they did this on purpose because Lee Harvey Oswald wanted to capture something that they created, essentially, and see like, well, what the hell is this? This is obviously a tangible thing, so like, what is it?
Right.
And at one point we find out that one of the reasons why the Men in Black as an urban myth comes along is because Lee Harvey Oswald sends Hines out into the field to interview people and try to dissuade them from believing what they saw, but Lee tells him he has to go out there without his tinfoil hat, so he's super nervous, as there's even a panel of him like being super nervous interviewing these people, and they're all like, yeah, this super awkward kid in a black suit showed up and was like, no, nothing to see here, don't look, don't believe any of this shit. And so he inadvertently created the myth of the Men in Black on accident by trying to prevent
them from coming.
The idea of the Men in Black and the Mothman.
Gotcha.
Which is I found to be very amusing. But yeah, and then there's also this character,
the Smiling Man,
Ingrid Cole, who says that he shows up at this. Man, this person was really hard. This is hard for me to understand. He thinks that Hines thinks he has interaction with them at one point, but is not sure. And what was the last thing he says? I was thinking of looking at the shoes. They finally capture this like Mothman guy and take it back to the Department of Truth, and the interviewer says, and that's the last time you've seen Lee Harvey Oswald before his disappearance. And the guy says, yes, sir, I haven't seen him since. And then you see this image of Lee with the captured
Mothman.
That's how the issue leaves off. I will say that of course sorry, Kwaku does a wonderful job of saying that Mothman is some of the coolest stuff. And then I'm sorry, this book is about issues. Someone else said, short sweet. Maybe I just thought I was reading it. But some of these stories and like mythos of like Americana are so deep and so rich that like even I can't even keep up with them or didn't even realize that they were like
A thing.
But like his ability to be like, yeah, like in 1966 there was a mass reporting of UFOs, and I was like, is that actually true? Like, was it 1966? And then I looked it up, and it's like, yeah, in 1966, very specifically in West Virginia and this one panhandle-y kind of whatever area of Ohio is where it all happened, and this really was where it happened in 1966. And Hines is like, yeah, that's where our stories took hold. And it's like, the fact that he's able to weave reality so well into this story, it just makes it so much more rich and believable.
Well, and to kind of put an exclamation point on that, Patty says, I forgot what town, but in real life there was an alleged sighting of a giant moth or Mothman in the air like 2008 or something. No, I've seen those videos where they like people, you know, we're diving into the actual conspiracy theory, but some people say they saw it in New York on the Brooklyn Bridge closer to 9/11. Some people say they saw it in Chernobyl, like days before the actual tragedy in Chernobyl with the meltdown. And so it's kind of like a character of tragedy, or not a being of tragedy, like a foreshadowing of something bad happening.
Right.
So yeah, that's the myth. So pretty interesting stuff. Folklore, right? Jeez, I can't speak. Folklore. All right. Rain, issue number 1, Image. Did it live up to the hype? Am I pushing the button?
That's Nate's pick of the week.
Yeah, I love this book. This was very
dope.
Now, this is a book. So it's written by David Booher, based off of a short story or novella, I can't remember which. That's written by Joe Hill, who is doing his best daddy impersonation.
Okay.
Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, for those that don't know. But
I see.
One of the things that I personally love about Stephen King, and it's one of the most controversial things about him, is that if you've got a book this thick by Stephen King, about this much of it is setup and plot and learning the characters, and about this much of it is the scary and actiony shit. And a lot of people, that's just boring writing, and I don't like that. And other people like me, it's like, you have me so drawn in and so in love with these characters and what's going on that by the time you start fucking everything around, I feel emotionally heartbroken.
Right.
And Joe Hill, and more specifically, I would guess you could give credit to Boher, did that in this issue. Like, literally in 30 pages, I was like, you did what? She did?
She did.
She did. Also, Zoe Thorogood, who I follow on Twitter, I really like her, like, very indie, like, style. Have you heard that, by the way? Have you heard of that on TikTok? Everyone calling the hipsters, they're calling it that style twee. No,
dude, I'm 34. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, they're talking about our generation.
Or twee?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, the people that we called hipsters when we were in like late high school.
Oh, so if
college,
you're a hipster, you're a twee.
Yeah, that is getting called twee now for some reason.
What is that? That's not even a word.
Like Zoe Deschanel and She and Him and all the like bubbly like flowers and rainbows that's called twee now apparently. But they're not referring to it as people today. They're referring to it as the people from like 2008. It's weird. Never mind. That's not the point. I just was making a joke that this comic book feels very twee.
It's very
hipster.
Just say hipster.
I know, but I'm a cool kid.
No, you're not.
And I'm not almost 35, okay?
I'm so emo.
So this book is basically this issue is about Yolanda and
Stefan,
Honeysuckle.
Twee?
Yeah, just ignore me. I'm sorry.
You've opened a can of worms, my friend.
Just ignore
What are
me.
you? You're 31?
One. I'll be 32 in March.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. You said 35. I'm long way.
I
away
said
from
34.
35.
34.
Should I continue? Or?
Yes, you should. Let's go. Come on.
All right. So this is a story about Yolanda and Honeysuckle, who are moving in together, and who are supposed to be moving in together. And the day that tragedy struck, and needles rain from the sky. So the vast majority of this comic is Honeysuckle, the character on the left, just walking down the street. That's all it is. It's just walking down the street, and she's making observations. But she's doing this thing that Stephen King does a ton, where he's like, meet this character. He was a former military man. He'll be the first to die. And meet Sally Joe. She will be the second to die. Blood pouring out of her brains as she screams for her mother. And
Okay.
it's setting the tone like pretty on the nose, but at the same time it's like a really delicate scene.
Right.
Because Honeysuckle is just walking down the road. At one point she sees her neighbor Templeton Blake, who's a boy that has a really bad sickness, is on antibiotics all the time, and so he can't be in the sun, and so she calls him Dracula, and she buys him like a little strawberry soda so that he can drink it and pretend like he's drinking blood. But it's also the reason why it's mentioned, Templeton, poor boy, was one of the survivors because he's not allowed to be out in the sun because of his antibiotics, and so he wasn't outside during the rain. And you just get introduced. It just does a fantastic job of drawing you in, and literally, and I just don't understand how in 24 pages of a comic book you have me so
hooked
and enraptured by
I like that.
by these characters like so quickly. And I am gonna have to spoil it, so for those that are wanting to read it, it is just the first issue, so there's more story to tell, but you get a ton of foreshadowing throughout this. Basically, Yolanda is moving up from Denver to Boulder to move in with Honeysuckle, and her parents are all like super excited for her, but Honeysuckle's family's like disowned her for being gay, and it's just this very romantic, like, yay, we're gonna get to move in together, like at least your parents love us and are supportive and everything's gonna be great. They haven't gotten to see each other for like a month because they've both been working to save up the money for the move. And as soon as she gets out of the car with her mom, needles. The sky starts raining needles. And when I say the sky is raining,
was he say deathly needles or just needles?
Deathly needles. So as you can see from this image, it's poking out eyes and making eyeballs pop.
Jesus Christ.
And it's not just like, oh, here's a needle here and there. It's like in a square inch, you're probably going to get 15 needles. So like if you were to just put your hand outside, it'd probably get 30 needles in it.
Okay.
That's how dense the needles are.
Right.
And so if you're outside, you're dead. Like look at Yolanda's mother's arm just from 1 second.
Ay.
And it's raining these needles, and poor Yolanda gets stuck out in the needles, and this is her fate. She's dead. Yeah, that's Yolanda after the first issue, and I'm like, the fuck,
bro! I should have picked this comic up.
Talked about how much they were in love and they were gonna spend their whole lives together and all these things. This woman who you see at the very beginning of the issue, she survives on accident because her groom, because they're having their wedding outside.
Holy shit!
And her groom's body falls on her and saves her from dying from the needles. All of the animals in the zoo die because they're outside, of course, and yeah, it's all very, very sad. And so she says, she's talking about how throughout the whole issue you've got the normal speech happening and then commentary in Honeysuckle's head, and she keeps talking about how, I never thought I could love somebody like this or anything like that. Then she says, and I realized that She said, I assumed that I never loved anybody in quite the same way. It took a rain of nails ripping her out of my life for me to realize I had never loved anybody else at all, period, until I loved Yolanda.
God.
But now she is dead. The glitter and chaos of her life have been clawed back into the universe. I should have been dead too. The only thought that was left in my head was, what now?
Fuck.
And that's how the issue ends. And man, this just hits my Wes Anderson, Roy Tenenbaum's twee little heart, and it hits that spot so well. And the fact that these creators have done such a good job of, like, now I'm literally gonna be like thinking about how Yolanda and Honeysuckle could have been and what the relationship could have been, and I'll be sad like 10 years from now. I'm gonna remember what could have been, but nope, they're dead.
Twee, twa, tomato.
So yeah, and again, if I can't push this enough. I know Michael says you should have picked this up. Jim, you say you should have picked this up. You're not as hipster as I am. I knew about this before you guys did. Like,
shut up. Okay, get out of here. It's just, god damn it. This is Nate's pick.
That's Nate.
It's my favorite. I love it, guys. It was really good. It's a 5-issue mini too, so you're not making any sort of big commitment. I really think this is an underrated, undervalued comic. So I bet you, if your shop buys little independents like this, I guarantee it's probably still shut.
You already misused it because you said I was way more hipster. No, it's twee, dude. It's twee.
I'm being silly.
It's twee.
I'm way more twee than you guys.
What's the furthest place from here? Issue number 3.
Ooh.
I hate you. So, tell me about it.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that Tyler Boss and Matt Rosenberg are very, very generous people. This is the 3rd issue now that they've given us 48 pages without any ads for $3.99.
Jesus.
Oh, there's still, like, it's still...
Is it twee?
Oh, my God.
Is this super twee?
This is super twee.
No, wait. No, hold on. How would you say that?
So twee.
Is this soup's twee?
No, we gotta stop because... we gotta stop. Okay, so I'm literally not going to be able to...
Okay.
I'm going to give you the shortest synopsis of this book ever.
30 seconds,
You're
go.
going to look at me like I'm a crazy person.
Okay.
So our family, the last we left off, they seek shelter in this random old folks home, right? That's what we see on the front. It's called the Bold Folks Home, but like old. In there is tons of TVs and VHS cassettes. They put one in because they see Sid's name on it. Sid is the pregnant girl that ran away and the one that they're trying to find.
Gotcha.
And in there, there's a video of her saying like someone interviewing her and saying, "Yes, my family is at the academy. They're like, oh, you're very far from home." She's like, "Yeah, I just walked here, I guess." Blah blah blah. One of the boys thinks that she's in there, somehow trapped inside the TV because he doesn't understand the technology. This is a really good insight to where we're at timeline wise.
Post-apocalyptic.
We're enough post-apocalyptic that this 18-year-old kid has no fucking idea what a TV is.
Right.
And so it turns out that there are kids of some varying age living in the old folks' home trying to pretend like they are old. And the main kid, the bald kid that thought she was really trapped in the TV, is like, "Yo, what the fuck? I know you're not old." And then I like punches the old guy in the face, and like his old glasses and wig fall off, and it's like, no, I really have to wear these. And like,
I really have wrinkles. Yeah.
There's a woman with this big hairdo wig, and like they convince her to take it off, but she's like, "No, like I promise, like just we'll feed you and everything." And so they like feed them and give them food and give them shelter, and it's just really awkward and strange. There's a weird interactions between them that doesn't really matter, but they show them their records at one point. They're like, "These are our gods." Remember that from the first
Yeah.
So while what is his name? Proof? I think his name's Proof. He looks outside and sees one of the strangers that we've seen before, and is like, "That motherfucker knows where Sid is," and so goes outside and brings it in, knocks it unconscious, and brings it inside. And so we've got one, and we're about to figure out what the hell it's all about. And while they're arguing about why the hell they shouldn't have done this, it gets up and starts walking away again. and everyone's like shouting at the people that are on the other side of the shadow or whatever, trying to get out. They're like, "Hey, stop it, stop it!" And some people are like throwing little cups at it and trying to get it to stop. And this guy just goes, "Cheep." But like his whole mannerism is just like, "Did I do it wrong? Did I do it right?
God,
Is this the right thing?" And they stab it, and it dies. So now they've killed one of these things, and the family inside's freaking the fuck out. Like, "Oh, well, they were invited to stay, but now you're not. You can't stay. You gotta get the fuck out. Can't believe you've done this." But then the mom is like, or the old woman is like, "No. We can make it work. We can make it work out. No worries. Everyone can stay except for you three, which are the main people that were involved in the killing." And they're like, "Y'all gotta get the fuck out." And Alabama, who's the leader of the family, is like, No, we're all leaving." But then two people in the family are like, "Hey, we're staying." And it turns out, bad idea. They start getting tortured, get their heads shaved, start pulling their teeth out. Don't understand why. It's some kind of weird sacrifice, because at the end, two shadows walk in. They're like, "Hey, we're glad you got our message. Your person's dead body's in there. We didn't do it, but we got teeth for you. We got shaved baby doll people here.
fuck?
So if you want to do something with them, that's not our fault." And remember, because they use human teeth.
Yeah, dude, you sounds like you're in a fever dream right now.
And so the rest of the family goes out on the road again, and then they start hearing tires squeal, and they like hide in the grass, like, "Oh shit, it's the carnies." And then someone's like, "I heard the carnies are supposed to be nice." And then these three people come out. One has two sets of arms, so 4 arms. One is a gamma skeleton, and the other is in a gas mask clown thing. And they're like, "Hey, don't y'all know you're not supposed to be out at night? You want to come to the carnival with us?" Yeah.
So when you said, okay, I'm gonna get twee here, if you will. So when that last part, when you were like, "I heard that carnival people are kind of nice, or they're nice," have you seen that guy on TikTok that's the teacher that does the "Why are you up"? Have you seen that guy? I've sent you TikToks of that guy. He's like teaching a course, and then like one of his kids, he impersonates one of the kids who like just stands up in the middle of the class and is like, "My grandparents," like the kids will say like, "My grandparents are getting a divorce," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and then they stand up and they breathe and they go like, and then they cuts back to him and he's like, "Why are you up?" Like the way you said that, like the way when you said, I heard carnival people are nice. They're just supposed to be nice. Like it just reminded me of that. Oh, here we go.
I don't know. This is the first thing that came to my head.
Okay.
I've worn this thing down and then had to go buy another one.
Oh wow.
Mainly, I was in bad shape when I bought it, but
right. I don't have the record in here. It's actually in my closet in my bedroom. And Patty asked, wonder what we're talking about. Patty asked, what record what's the one record you would use to identify as your thing? Calvin did.
No,
Stefan.
Jesus.
Dude, there's a lot of chat. We have a lot more people chatting than we usually do, which, hey, props. Thank you. I love the involvement. It fills my heart. For me, I think the record would be Burning Star 4 from Coheed and Cambria. That album is just... It's just amazing. And me and Nate actually saw Coheed and Cambria in Dallas pre-pandemic days at the House of Blues. It was freaking awesome.
That was when they played that whole album, beginning to end without stopping.
It was a never ender. It just went on. It was fucking awesome. Okay, well that was crazy. I'm gonna have nightmares now about.
I couldn't find it, Stefan. It would either be that or Maggot Brain, but I couldn't find that one. It's like way in the back. One of those two.
It's just getting weird. It's getting too twee in here. All right, I believe that is it for the show this week. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to, before we end the show, I'm going to pop up, just have a little preview of what we're picking up this week. Holy moly, we got a thick boy on our hands. Thick boy alert.
Uh-oh.
Next week, we do. No, there are Coheed is dope. I've seen them 3 times. Stefan, you fucking rock. I have 22 comics next week, but I have multiple covers coming in. So I actually have 20 comics coming in next week. So it's still a pretty thick boy. But just to kind of give y'all an idea of what we're looking at, we've got Avengers, Batman the Knight, Death of Doctor Strange, X-Men / Black Knight #1, Defenders #5, Detective Comics 1049, Devil's Reign X-Men #1, Eternals #9, Hulk #3, Moon Knight, Nightwing, 7 Secrets, She-Hulk, Silk, Silver Coin, Silver Surfer Rebirth #1, Star Wars High Republic issue 13, Strange Academy #15, Superman Son of Kal-El, We Only Find Them When They're Dead #10, that is going to be probably my last issue, and Lives of Wolverine, X Lives Wolverine issue #1. Twee is right, Quiku, Twee.
Also, that does not include my Green Lantern #10.
Jesus.
Let's see, The Rush #3. Star Wars High Republic Adventures Great Galactic Bake Off Spectacular.
Wait, say that again. What?
The Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Great Galactic Bake Off Spectacular #1.
Jesus. Okay. Is that it?
You say 7 Secrets?
Yes.
Okay. You said Silver Coin?
Yes.
You said Defenders?
Yes.
All right.
And Defenders, I believe.
Did you say Devil's Reign Villains for Hire?
No.
Ah, there you go.
Fuck.
No.
Yeah. No, I've traded in a fair amount of Pookie Man cards just so I could buy next week's pull.
Yeah,
I traded in.
I'm gonna have to trade in some shit.
Yeah, I today actually I traded in about $80 worth of Pokemon cards so that I could just fare. Because on top of that, I've got this art germ variant of She-Hulk, the Peach Momoko variant of X Labs Wolverine #1, and then I also pre-ordered, but I've already paid for, another She-Hulk variant that's got a Virgin and a trade. It's gonna be a lot, guys. And we're gonna have to bring back honorable mentions.
Oh, sure.
There's no way. There's just no way. Or we're just gonna, like, here's this book. We're gonna work on this book. Here's this book. Like, we may just have to kind of hit them real quick. Like, we'll just have to wait and see. But that being said, there are a lot of heavy hitters next week. It's gonna be tough for me to pick a pick of the week, I think. I think Batman the Knight, even though I wasn't thinking about picking that up, has potential. I think Hulk does. I think She-Hulk does. Nightwing does. Silver Coin does. Strange Cat, like, all of there's. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, in a good way. I need to stop saying that. Anyway, that's it for issue 74. We'll see you back here on Wednesday for our new comic book day video, which will have all those comics and all of our excitement for that stuff, which is the week of January 19th. So put that in my brain cap so I remember that when we film the video. And then we'll see you guys back here on Sunday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time here on YouTube Live. If you're watching this as a past episode and you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, give us a like. If you're watching this live and you haven't given us a like, hit that like button, please. I know you liked it. You're still here watching, please. And as we said, we're getting close, or not getting close, but our next giveaway will be at 650 subscribers. We're giving away this Daredevil 25 second printing, 9.8 CBCS, first appearance of Daredevil Elektra. So that'll be cool. And then obviously we are rolling on. We are getting closer and closer to our 1,000 subscriber milestone, where we will be giving away that Original Sin Amazing Spider-Man #4 first appearance of Silk. Pretty heavy book. I'm already in negotiations with Ron to pick up another copy of it when it comes back as a 9.8, and I have my money saved up for it because I will be picking that up because I want to keep a copy for myself. So we will be giving it away, and then I'll have my own, and then everything will be great. As always, guys, read more comics, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to y'all later. I'm not missing anything, right? Bye. Okay.
Say a prayer for my boys.
How about them boys? We'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
No, I have to root for the fucking